The projected outcomes of overconsumption and the abuse of our earth are dire, especially as we are already consuming 50% more resources than the planet can sustain. Permaculture proposes an easy solution to solve some of the mess that humanity has created for itself, such as the shortage of healthy and clean food and water, as well as the destructive imbalance our species has created on our earth and its interconnected and interdependent species. That the global permaculture community is growing every day as more and more people are recognizing the need to change to a more sustainable way of life. This series is going to introduce us to various people who have begun this journey in and around the Makhanda region in the Eastern Cape.
So permaculture has a lot of very good definitions. To my mind, they get a bit too technical. For me, it's very simple. I design natural systems that interact with one another. The output of one becomes the input of the other. It's really simple and straightforward. There are so many examples out there of what we can do from a small-scale perspective, how we can regenerate this country's ability to feed itself to a degree that I cannot really fathom. Yet it's something really old school, it's old-fashioned, and not anywhere near as hard as what people think.
But the majority of what we do actually in permaculture is really based on a set of principles and ethics rather than anything else on any scientific basis. But with regards to permaculture itself, we do focus upon how one says fair share is critical, care for the earth is critical, and care for people is critical, because not only a cultural sense and a sort of environmental sense, but the ability to actually walk away from the buzzwords of sustainability and walk towards more of the actual collective of being able to develop and systems and structures that are able to actually support the kind of nutritional and healthy living that I think everybody's looking for in the day and age, in very small proximities. Sets of principles and ethics really revolve around establishing systems and structures within an environmental setting that not only looks at the issues that we faced with this day and age, predominantly our significant water and energy storage crises, but at the same time a hell of a lot to do with what we're talking about when it comes down to nutritional autonomy and actually being able to give ourselves what we need as human beings to survive. Less all the chemicals and less all the pesticides and less all the herbicides that in this day and age are really the sort of peak points of conventional farming practices. And so within permaculture, when we focus on building these systems, we really focus on ethics and principles that focus on really mimicking the natural environment and the natural systems that already occur, and rather harness the understanding that we have to develop a higher output and a higher sort of nutritional concept and nutritional requirement and yield from what we grow. And I think a lot of the time what permaculture focuses upon is really trying to bring in together the companionship between different natural elements within systems, just like in forests, for example. You'll never find a forest unless it's been man-made or man-planted. You'll never find a forest that's only got one or two plants in it. You'll find an entire family, an entire connection between all of these different aspects of natural living. And when you start to admit and accept that these are so supportive in one another's growth and development, one can see that if you just take those lessons from nature and put them into a place where you can accelerate the growth of these things purely by mimicking what nature does, we begin to realize how effective these kind of practices can become.
Let's show the world what we can do. Let's show the world that we can look after ourselves. That it's not as hard as what people think. It's really just connecting with nature. How many of you have heard about permaculture before? Anyone?